Welcome, friends and neighbors, to another episode of Remember This, real stories about real people with a twist. I'm Brad Dison. And now, the true story of a taxing bill. It is often stated that nothing is certain except for death and taxes. Getting a letter from the Internal Revenue Service can weaken even the strongest, fiercest, most black-hearted person. In April 1983, Patricia Ann Kern received such a letter at her home in Aurora, Colorado. She anxiously opened the letter and read. She was shocked to learn that she owed $3,000 in taxes from a job she held in Oregon the previous year. Mrs. Kern instantly knew there was a mistake since she had never been to Oregon. Now she just had to prove it. Mrs. Kern contacted her IRS office and began the process. The IRS agent asked for her Social Security number. She provided it, and the agent said there was no mistake. She would have to pay the $3,000. Mrs. Kern explained that she had never been to Oregon. The agent was skeptical and asked more questions. He asked if her maiden name was Patricia Ann Campbell, and it was. He asked if she was born March 13th, 1941, and she was. He asked if she had worked as a bookkeeper, and she had. He asked if she had children ages 19 and 21, and she had. The agent told Mrs. Kern again that there was no mistake. She would have to pay the $3,000, but she insisted she had never been to Oregon. The agent dug deeper with this questioning and asked if her husband was in the military, which he was. He asked if her father's name was Robert, and it was. Exasperated, the agent explained that there was no error. She would have to pay the $3,000. Mrs. Kern insisted again that she could not owe the $3,000 because she had never been to Oregon. Mrs. Kern and the agent had reached an impasse. The skeptical agent told Mrs. Kern that he would look into the situation further, but explained that she should be prepared to pay the $3,000. The agent had had people make claims such as this before in attempts to avoid paying their taxes. Every bit of information the agent had reinforced the notion that Mrs. Kern had worked in Oregon. To be thorough in his investigation, the agent contacted the Social Security Administration. John Trollinger, spokesman for the Social Security Administration, investigated Mrs. Kern's claims and found that they had a lot of the same information the IRS had. Then something strange appeared in his notes. He found that a Patricia Ann Campbell Kern lived in Aurora, Colorado, and a Patricia Ann Campbell DiBiase lived in rural Oregon. Both Patricia Ann Campbell shared the same Social Security number, were born on March 13, 1941, and were both bookkeepers. Both had children ages 19 and 21, had fathers named Robert, and husbands in the military. John dug deeper and learned that the error occurred when one of the women applied for her Social Security card but received a replacement card for the other woman. A short time after Mrs. Kern received the letter from the IRS, she received a letter from the Social Security Administration, which had explained how the error had occurred. Relieved that she would not be held responsible for the $3,000 tax bill, Mrs. Kern contacted Mrs. DiBiase and told her about many things they had in common. We'd both like very much to get together, not just to try to straighten out this problem, but to talk about all the things we have in common, Mrs. Kern said. Mrs. Kern and Mrs. DiBiase became fast friends. During an early conversation, they learned that they had both studied cosmetology and shared oil painting as a hobby. Mrs. DiBiase laughed at the whole situation until she realized she would have to pay the $3,000 tax bill. If you would like to hear more real stories about real people with a twist, hit the subscribe button. Remember, this is also available in book form. Just click on the link in the description below. This is Brad Dyson. Thanks for listening.